Hey everybody, Near here again with another racing commentary here on Project Cars. Today we'll be racing the Nurburgring GP for the Saturday race, and this was definitely an interesting race to be a part of with the kind of intermediate conditions that didn't have intermediate tires. We had to use a really weird hybrid soft derp compound, and thanks SMS for having the intermediate successfully not work and in fact burn up in rain conditions. I don't even know how that's a thing, but we're running a hybrid compound for the race that seemed to be the compound with the most grip. We've kind of exhausted the options on Wednesday, but we did a little bit of a clutch release, bite point find, whatever you want to call it, and we're trying to get ready for our start for P2 on the grid.
Be ready, watch for the lights.
Just gonna leave the start in a little bit of silence here.
Go, go, go.
So we definitely had the start up until the first corner where it seemed like Rip did take a little bit of breakout just to see if he could close up a little bit just to try and break away from the pack behind, but we managed to nick first place from him, and now our goal is to try and control the rest of the race. He's got Bullet behind him, battling with him, and I'm gonna try and make the most of it and see if I can get a little bit of a gap before the first quarter of the race so I can successfully kind of fend him off toward the last part of the stint. I didn't do any tire testing for this run for the most part. It was all balance and pace testing, so this is going to be the first time attempting a one-stop strategy without any previous data. So here we are on lap 8, and our tires are a little bit worn this far into the race. I think we're halfway into the stint or a little bit after that, but we're going to go into the final sector, and it looks like Bullet has reset his car a little bit on the track. That's caused a little bit of an oversteer moment from us, and it's possibly kind of worn the inside front tires, so we have a little bit of uneven wear at the moment now, but we are definitely able to hold on to the car, so we're going to see how long we can hold the lead for. But this is just a little bit of a shot of what I was dealing with during the race with all of the inside lockups and that spin. So we're back to battling Rip once again in this, what felt like a race that took ages to complete in the really tricky kind of semi-wet conditions. We have Rip right behind us on lap 12, and we're going back into the same corner that we had a little bit of an oversteer moment on, and he's sticking right to the back of us on the exit. So we're going to head on into the Schumacher S's, bleed a little bit of speed off into the midsection to hold on to the car, but he's going to take it up the inside and successfully complete the move. I try to hang on to it, but promptly get force ride, as I kind of should, because that was a little bit of a late comeback move. So very clean racing going on so far. I'm going to see if I can get him into the next braking zone, which doesn't actually happen. He's a little bit too far away. But pretty good racing going on so far. So we're on lap 14. I've completely had it with these tires at the moment, as you see the lockup going into the final chicane. So we're about to attempt to do something a little risky. We're going to try and go 16 laps on one set of tires, which I think up until this point is a little bit unheard of, but I believe Rip did have the better wear on the tires out of the two of us. So we're going to go down this very long pit lane in Nurburgring, and we're going to hope that the undercut becomes successful. We're going to take 60 liters of fuel, and we're going to take another set of the hybrid compounds with the softs in the front and the wets in the rear. So we had a pretty clean stop. We were a little bit slow on the entry due to the slippery tires that we did have on before, but we're on a brand new set and we don't get penalties for crossing the pit exit line, so I think we're covered so far in the race, unless they change the rules in the standings, which I doubt at this point, but we're going to move ahead on later in that very same lap. I'm really pushing, trying to see if I can get Rip on the exit, and I overcooked the brakes just a little bit and managed to put myself a little bit off into that corner. We didn't lose much time with that off, but I'm thinking it's just enough to kind of decrease the advantage of that undercut. So we're going to go into the Sector 3 complex, which consists of the straight, the bend, and the final chicane bit. And we're going to try and see what time we can make up in order to attempt to stay ahead of Rip. A little bit of a lockup into the final chicane, and surprisingly, it was not far enough into the second part to get a penalty.
The gap in front is now 2.3 seconds.
So as you can see on the right, we just managed to get ahead of Rip by about 0.8 of a second, locking up into the first corner. And we're going to try and see if we can control the pace of the race a little bit more coming to the second half of the race. We're now on lap 17, and things are starting to get a little bit dicey with the constant pressure that both of us have had throughout the entire race. We're going back into the infamous corner where all bad things have happened this race so far, which is not very bad at all. And we're going to go up through the Schumacher S's a little bit off, and it seems as if Rip, following us through, had a little bit of a spin and has given us about a 2-second advantage so far. So got a little bit of breathing room for Rip from now, but all things are kind of rectified in lap 19, where he catches right back up to us. We overshoot the corner, he does too. Kind of taps us a little and gives us the lead back. So we both had a little bit of an off moment trying to race so hard for a majority of the race. Most of the race was within about a good 2 to 3 seconds of each other. And we've once again gained a bit of breathing room, but a bit in this race really isn't a lot. One little penalty could end it all. But we're coming on to the infamous lap 22, and the tires are starting to go. I'm trying to nurse them as much as I can, but there's not really a huge amount I can do. He goes up the inside a little bit, changes the angle of his car to try and go around the outside for the next set of corners, but couldn't quite do it. There was too much of a loss of speed. So we're now going through the Mercedes arena, and we're just trying to hang on to the car as best as we can for this last stint. We are about a lap older on tires, so he should have the advantage. So we're on to lap 24, and it seems as if Rip's tires are a bit in worse for wear. He seems to be going just a little bit slower than I am at the moment, as he has a little bit of a half spin coming out of the corner leading to the Schumacher S's, and gives us another free piece of time to try and eke out a little bit of a lead. So we're consistently getting little breaks throughout the race, and just trying to kind of pace ourselves to stay in the lead and on the lead lap. So here on the final lap, and it looks like it's over, but it's not over, in a sense that we are a little bit under on the fuel from my calculations. We're about a liter or two under. We've been saving fuel for probably the past 4 to 5 laps, trying to make up for the miscalculation in the fuel numbers. And on top of that, we don't have the best tires in the world. As you can see on the right, they're completely gone. But Static has gotten in front of Rip Chief Jedi. His tires have completely gone off the cliff so far in the race. And he seems to be catching us at quite an alarming rate. We're trying to short shift and left and coast to save as much fuel as we can, and hopefully we don't mess it up into the final chicane.
That you, Rip?
Yeah. I'm all over the place. I've got no tyres whatsoever.
Yeah, I was like that for the first.
So we've got one more corner to go until we cross the checkered flag. We're navigating it very cautiously as we go along to the finish line to win the German Grand Prix.
Good win, I assume, Near. Static second, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get round there. Shit.
Nice run there.
And that is it for this highlight videos. Please let me know in the comments whether or not you'd like more videos in this kind of style, or whether you prefer the old style a little bit better. But I am your host, Near, and I will catch you guys all on the flip side. Later.